PowerPoint.
Are you seeing that now?
I see two girls with hugs and hearts around them. Why don't you play the song and then just go to the PowerPoint maybe?
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. Eres la luz de Dios. I hold you in my heart. Eres la cara del amor. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. 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 La luce di Dio. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. L'image de Dieu. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. La luz de Dios. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God.
Good morning and welcome to Unity of London, coming to you from our homes, but our building is at 501 Nelson Street. So if anyone's joining us later and wonders where Unity of London is, it's at 501 Nelson Street in London, Ontario. We're really happy that everyone's here today, and we welcome those that might look later, watch us later. Unity of London shares the same vision as almost all the unities worldwide, and that is that we see a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. You see, unity is a movement. It's not a church. It's not a religion. It's a movement, and it's about people being awakened to their spirituality, to who they really are. And our mission in London to realize that is to co-create with spirit, to help transform lives through our shared spiritual awakening. And we do that by sharing our spiritual awareness, by being a loving, inclusive, supportive community. We promote self-expression. We do our very best to live every day what we believe, those 5 principles. There's only one power, and it is good. And if you want to know about the other 4, just Google it. You can Google unity. And we inspire people to make a positive difference in the world by being kind, sharing a smile, really connecting with people when you're out shopping, and just being the best you can be. And by providing fellowship and education for spiritual seekers of all walks of life. And today we do have a prayer chaplain on duty. Pauline is on duty to pray with you following the service. If you'd like one-on-one private prayer, we have the ability to put you in a private room on Zoom, and Pauline's happy to pray with anyone today. And speaking of Pauline and sharing education, Pauline's first course as she's going through accreditation to be a licensed Unity teacher starts tomorrow. It's called A Closer Walk with God, and it's based on a book that's available via Amazon. And A Closer Walk with God will enable you to enrich your prayer life and deepen your intimacy with divine presence, God. It's a 5-week course. It is not for credit. It's open to anyone, Unity or non. Students can sign up by contacting Pauline for either a Monday afternoon session that is going to run from 1 till 3. So if you've read 1:30 elsewhere, it is for sure 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock. Or if you're like me and you're working during the day, Monday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30. And love offerings are welcome, and you can send an e-transfer to unityoflondon.com, or you can send a check or drop off a check. This is Celebration Sunday, so as we're going through the service, think about what you would like to share that you're celebrating during this wonderful month of January, the first month of 2022. And another couple of quick announcements I have before I go into prayer. We did send out membership renewals. A couple of people we think maybe missed them. So we will resend out a couple, and we're looking for people to respond. And if we don't get a response, we will just give you a quick call. But take a look in your inbox next week for a membership renewal, and you're going to just email back yes or something else. But we expect yes. And there is a prayer workshop today through Unity of Kitchener running from 1 to 3, and it is a prayer workshop with Reverend Paul Hasselbeck. And now I invite you to take a few moments, as I will, and just let go of all the busyness that was going on this morning. We let go of all the technology issues we might have had, and we don't think about what's going on after service. Just take a moment and connect right now with your heart space. Feel your heart beating. And know that all of our hearts are beating together as one. And as we move into prayer, we hold in our prayer Unity of York Region and Unity of Ottawa. And I will pause for a moment now so that you may whisper into the space anyone else that you would like to ensure that they are included in our prayer. And in the spirit of a unity prayer, we affirm that during these challenging times of what we call a pandemic, we affirm that it is on its way out. We can see a future bright, clear, where people are joyous, happy, getting along, and when they're not in agreement, they agree to disagree in love. We affirm those that are sick with a virus or any other dis-ease. We affirm that their body can be put at ease. Our bodies are designed and destined to heal, and we see the healing happening now. We affirm those that feel that they are short of funds, find a way to stretch those funds. We whisper into the hearts that as you share, it multiplies. There is abundance all around us. We affirm a great year of 2022 for Unity of London. We see 2 or 3 people at this moment starting to get the tickle in their mind or the nudge in their heart to join our board and help move Unity of London into the future in a big way. We affirm that we will be back to our building having live services and lickety split, no time flat. We just wait for a little time. And we affirm that all of our members, for all of our members, their friends, their families, and everyone connected, everything is always working out for us. For wherever we are, divine life is with us. And it only wants the best for all of us. And we affirm that we hold strong as a community, helping each other through good times and tough times. And so it is, and so we let it be, and we are prepared for a wonderful service by Wendy. And we let that go. Amen. And now Nancy will read the daily word.
Guidance. Divine wisdom helps me discover my unique spiritual path. Tending to my spiritual life keeps me attentive to the whispers of my heart and in tune with my guidance. I am grateful for these moments. I can rely upon my spiritual intuition to discern my path forward. But sometimes my guidance feels far away and hard for me to access on my own. At those times, I may seek the assistance of my trusted friends and advisors. I may seek the wise counsel of a minister or a spiritual counselor, or be part of a group who encourages me to discover the wisdom found in the depths of my consciousness. She, he, or they pray with me, listen with empathy, and share my joy as my innate wisdom leads me along my unique spiritual path. I am grateful for those who walk the path alongside me. From John chapter 14, verse 26, but the advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything and remind you of all that I have said to you. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Wendy Carr. Wendy joined the Unity movement in 1984 and received her licensed Unity teacher status in 2000. Best known for teaching history of Unity and Bible courses across Canada, she also serves on teams at the national and international levels. She is honored to be back at Unity of London today. And with her talk, it's 2022, now what? Please help me welcome our returning guest speaker and wonderful licensed Unity teacher, Wendy Carr.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. So as Nancy just said, it is 2022. The calendar says that we're in a new year. And Unity's calendar for this year is Embrace Your Unlimited Good. And today's a little different. I know usually I give you some Unity history, but today's kind of personal soliloquy. Because when I got my calendar in the mail, I looked at it and I said, how do I embrace my good in a time of pandemic? In a time where we've been locked down so much, I had new neighbors move in and we were chatting with our masks on outdoors. And I said to them, you know, I'm a bit of a hermit now. I've been living on my own for a while now and I don't go out. And my neighbor who's a retired nurse said, so, You figure if we check on you, what, every 3 months, that should be sufficient. And I realized that there's a part of me that's like, I don't know what it's going to look like when we get out of lockdown, when all these restrictions are removed, when we can go out freely and meet our friends and family for dinners in a restaurant and have that experience of being served. And so what I would like to do today is just kind of share with you some ideas around that. And it's very much a personal talk. So if you've already got your dreams and your plan and your treasure maps, planned out for this year, terrific, blessings to you. I don't. So if you also don't, jump on board and let's do a little exploration. So first question, and can you can attain everything that you imagine? And I kind of looked at that and I was like, oh, Papa Charlie, you got to be kidding me. I have had a number of dreams that have kind of exploded in the last 2 years. I had dreams of, okay, I'm finished with this task. I can now travel. I can now participate in. I can go down to London and see people that I love in not only at the church, but I have family in town, and it would be so wonderful. And I haven't seen you guys in person in what feels like forever. And so this is part of our challenge, is that spiritually we're called to attain and to believe in what we can do. And yet it feels like on the human level that everything is just kind of closing in on us, or at least for me it is. Even though I have nice vaulted ceilings and it's a very airy house I live in, these walls are kind of feeling like they're crushing in on me. And what can I imagine? And sometimes I start to imagine something like, I can't wait to go to out west for a Canadian conference in the fall. And that little voice says, yes, but. Anyone else have a yes, but? I might be the only one. And if it is, if I am, so be it. But let's talk about how we do this. So my wonderings for you today. So the first wondering is, what's your dream? What is it that you want to do, to be, to experience? And for me, it's all three of those. It's not just about having something that concrete that you're going to do, but rather the idea of what experience am I going to bring to that? One of the early things I learned, and I'll share in more detail in a moment, is the importance of having your heart in alignment with whatever it is you're dreaming about. If you're looking at a new house, looking at some kind of new residence for yourself, and your head says yes, 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 and your heart says, well, that's an opportunity to think and to take that time and pause. And as I say, we'll talk about that in more detail in a moment. But what beginning steps can you take? And I think our challenge in North America, at least, I've never been to Europe, so I don't know what the dynamic is like elsewhere. But I know in my own family, my extended family, my circle of friends, we seem to be really focused on the destination. And I know we've all seen memes and quotes about, that it's about the journey, not the destination. And one of the things that has really come to me is remembering steam engines. My papa, my maternal grandfather, was really big on steam and on trains. So one of the things I learned from him was steam engines do not achieve instant velocity. It's a very slow process. You have to get that boiler going. You have to get the initial wheels going. You have to get the engine going, and then you have to overcome the inertia of all of those cars that are behind the engine. So what can we do in smaller steps rather than trying to say, I'm going to have all this come into manifestation right now? That's not to say that it can't happen right now. But I think in a time of pandemic, when everything in the media and social media is telling us that we're restricted, that we have to comply with things, that we need to step back and say, okay, what are baby steps I can take? What are smaller steps that I can move towards in terms of getting towards this goal that I have, this dream that I have, this idea of who I can be in the world? So one of the things I noticed in the news in San Francisco, they've got a building that's tilting and they need to put in new footings. And that's what I want to talk about, is that idea of putting spiritual footings on our dream, putting those base parts that will ensure stability, that we can count on to sustain us through the challenges, through the sadness, through the anger, through the joys, through everything. Those periods where we say, what the fluff is going on in this world? And those other times when we say, oh, this is so awesome and I am so grateful. So are there beginning steps you can take today? Is there something you could do today to start working? And it may be that today you actually set aside some time, pour a cup of your favorite beverage, grab some note paper or your iPad or whatever, and start thinking about, what does 2022 look like for me? And I'm not talking necessarily resolutions, or we might have done a white stone ceremony in the past. I'm just talking about getting clear about, you have a whole year in front of you. Well, minus 9 days, but we have the bulk of the year ahead of us. What can we do to develop that? What can we do today? What can we do tomorrow? What can we do next week? It may be that now is not the right time for something to happen. It may be that other things have to happen in place. 6 months from now, I know with certainty that I will have been boosted. I do have an appointment. It's a little farther out than I would like, but that's okay. I'm in a place where that's okay for me to wait and let others go ahead. But what do I want to look like this year? So in trying to bring it into full experience, and I use the word trying because sometimes it feels like it's trying. It feels like we're doing all the right things. We're praying, we're meditating, we're spending time in the silence, we're doing our denials and affirmations, we're cleaning out our homes of physical items that are no longer necessary, and things aren't happening. And that is when we need to bring in our faith, which is our power of the month. Now, one of the things that I have heard a lot is people saying we need hope. And I do not discount that we need hope. But what I'm going to invite you to do is be aware of your languaging, and that instead of using the word hope, that we use the word faith, that we are faith. We don't just have it, but we are it in expression. So from our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, he defines hope as the expectation of good in the future. It is a quality, good as far as it goes, of sense mind because it is subject to time. And when you think about how we use the word hope in daily languaging, I hope you're all right. The unspoken part is at this moment. I hope that COVID will go away. The unspoken part is at some point in time, at some point in the future. Faith, by comparison, is the certain knowledge that our good is ours right now. It is of God. It goes beyond time and space. And the big question I was asked years ago in Unity was, how long does it take for an acorn to become an oak tree? Well, in absolute truth, with the capital A and a capital T, it already is an oak tree. That is all it knows how to become. The challenge is that in the human physical realm, it takes time for that acorn to develop its root system, to come through the soil and up into a sapling, and then into the large tree that we love and appreciate. So too with us. Everything that we are looking for, whether it is greater joy, greater love, greater prosperity, is present within us in this moment. It's just that on the human physical plane, it might take some time for things to come into expression. Turning to Emily Cady, also an early Unity writer. Hope expects an answer sometime in the future. Faith takes it as having already been given. Hope looks forward. Faith declares that she has received even before there is slightest visible evidence. And you may say, well, Charles and Emily are on the same page. Why did you give us both sets of quotes? I gave you both sets of quotes because Charles came to that conclusion through his intellect, and Emily came through it through perseverance of her intuitive knowing and proving the principles in her daily life. And that's a whole other Sunday talk, which I'll give at some future date. But these two people, a man and a woman, came to almost the same languaging of a principle from the intellect and from the emotional or intuitive part of themselves. And I think that's really important to remember, that we are both male and female. We may express to humankind as male, female, or other, and that is a perfect expression of God in us. But it's important to remember that even though I present as female, I identify as female, I have a masculine part. I have a thinking part of me. And sometimes that thinking part gets in the way of my faith. Sometimes that thinking part of me can totally burst the bubble of a great faith idea that I have. And so I invite us just to kind of be aware of that, to be gentle with ourselves, but just to sort of sit back and say, at what point am I in right now? Am I more in my intuitive or am I more in my thinking? And to find that balance as we build our faith, that we build a faith that encompasses all of us. So let's be very careful with our languaging. As those of you who have had classes or heard me before know that I'm really keen on language, because language is how we create. So going back to Charles for a moment, intellectual faith admits doubt and hope of fulfillment in the future. So he's describing a way that that kind of is my default when I'm stressed, is intellectual faith. There's a part of me that knows there's faith, but just can't see it right now. And that's my intellectual faith in action. Spiritual faith includes unfailing assurance and immediate response. That's that part of me that knows that it knows that it knows, even when the intellect is saying, how is that going to happen? I don't understand. And that is the footing that we want to build on. We want to build on our spiritual faith. Going back to Emily, she puts in slightly different languaging. She talks about blind faith, that it's an instinctive trust in a power higher than ourselves. And she too, in another part of that paragraph, talks about how it's better to have blind faith than no faith, but that we can pull it into an understanding faith that's based on a principle rather than just thinking that God will fix it all. That we understand, we come to understanding that the principle is we are expressions of God in this human physical realm, and that we, as that expression, are faith. We don't just have faith, we are faith. And that was a hard one for me to understand as a kid. When in my church of origin, it wasn't quite that strong. It was like you had to have a lot of faith. I came into Unity as a teenager, so I was having that teenage angst. And to be told that I not only have the faith of God, but I am the faith of God kind of blew my mind a bit. Again, from Charles, faith is a deep inner knowing that that which is sought is already ours for the taking. So what does that mean? That means that it's okay to claim our good. In fact, that's what we're supposed to do. That there is an abundance in this world in spite of the appearances of lack, limitation, and want and need and illness and all of these other things that are an absence. I love this picture in part because of the light, the way they use the light post. And the question for me is there such a thing as a darkness bulb? If you go to your local hardware store and say, I need a darkness bulb, I'll guarantee you they will look at you as though you have 3 heads and possibly 6 eyes, because our sense of lack is the absence of, rather than it being in existence. And I know a bunch of you, and including my own mind, are going, wait a minute, I can see it. I can see that people are homeless. I can see that people are hungry. I can see that people are having challenges with addiction, with understanding who and what they are called to be. Yes, and there is something greater that can be brought into manifestation. A lot of what we experience as lack and lack of substance is simply that we don't have the faith because we haven't been taught who we are, and what is ours to be in this lifetime. And to say that it's ours for the taking means that you claim your good and you want for everyone else to have their good as badly as you want it for yourself, that you engage in that desire on behalf of the world, that everyone experiences prosperity, health, wholeness, healthy relationships, everything that makes life pleasant and a joyous experience. Charles's definition of faith: it's the perceiving power of the mind linked with a power to shape substance. It's that ability to see beyond. If you had told me even as recently as 2017, that by January of 2019, I would be teaching classes on Zoom, and that 3 years after that, not only would I still be teaching classes on Zoom, I would be doing Sunday talks on Zoom, I would have told you were crazy. I would have told you that there's no way I would do that, that was so uncomfortable, that was so out of my understanding of technology, of my capabilities, but I stayed open to it, and here we are. This is our opportunity to stake our faith, to step out, even if it's just a little toe through the ice into the pond. It's that ability to take that first step is so important, to be able to hold to that idea. So as I said at the beginning, this is where we get into some balance, into that idea of male, of female. Our faith capacity is up here. It's in our pineal gland in our brain. Our love capacity is behind our heart. Our power capacity is behind the tongue. So when we have our thoughts and our feelings in alignment with each other, the words that we speak, the words that we write even, because let's face it, I know I sometimes speak aloud while I'm writing, perhaps you do as well, but at some level we are speaking those words, whether we're writing it, typing it, or actually articulating it verbally. So as we get into a place of alignment between these three, we can see things happening, but it is faith that is the foundation. It is love and power that brings the ideas, the concepts, the relationships, the opportunities into manifestation. Great line from Charles. If we pray for rain, we should be sure that we have our umbrellas with us. You know, you show up and you're like, oh, we're going to have a prayer service for rain, and nobody brings an umbrella. Why on earth would you expect that the rain would come? You're not prepared to receive it. You know, for me, if we're going to have a rain dance, I am putting sandbags around my house before I go to that rain service, because I want to make sure that when the rain comes, it comes in abundance and I am prepared. So too for other things in our life. Have you done your forgiveness work around a past relationship that will create the space for a new relationship? Have you let go of some toxicity based on a past job that needs to be released before you can welcome a new job into your life? And so on and so forth. What is it that we do? It's this process that we have. Sometimes it feels like work. Sometimes it feels so easy that you say to yourself, why did I wait so long to take care of this? Why did I wait so long to do this? And finally, from Emily Cady, your business is to stand still and proclaim it is done. It's not about running around and trying to tie up all the loose ends. It is about being in that stillness, of being aware of what needs to be released, what needs to be healed, and then where that space is, make sure it's clean, make sure that that has been completely sanitized for your protection, as it were, that we have that welcoming space in our minds and hearts for new ideas, for new opportunities, for new blessings. And with that, let us move into our time of meditation. Taking into our time this affirmation: as I walk in faith, my way becomes clear. How perfect that our daily word for today is on guidance. And let us just take into this time, going into the place in our body where we feel that connection, where we feel the oneness of the universe, where we feel that connection not only to everyone on this Zoom call and all who are watching at any time, but to this whole world, to this whole planet. And just taking a moment to breathe into that, allowing the week that was to just remain in the past and the week that will be to remain in the future. It's waiting for us. We'll get there when we get there. And in this consciousness, we begin the process of checking the footings that are our faith in expression. We ensure that everything is in place. And we do not judge ourselves or condemn ourselves for any thoughts we might have had in the past or are still holding on to. They have served us, and now it is time to gently, very gently, take a look, take a New Year's review. Is this blind faith or understanding faith? Am I in faith because that's what I do, or am I faith-filled because I understand and act according to spiritual principle? Do I have an intellectual faith that is heartless, that has no sense of love attached to it? Or do I have a spiritual faith that embodies faith, love, and power into creation of new opportunities, new relationships, new blessings? And just breathing into this space of reflection, knowing that faith is the foundation on which all else will be built. Knowing too that we can come back, patch up a spot, take out a spot that's not holding firm, and replace it with something that is strong. And just allowing ourselves to ask the question again, what is my dream in 2022 and beyond? In the consciousness that I am faith, what can that faith do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, whenever, to bring into manifestation that which is mine to do, that which is mine to be, that which is mine to share? And we know and affirm this truth not only for ourselves, but for the whole world. And we know and affirm that as we desire this good for ourselves, as we desire this greater faith for ourselves, we, in affirming it for everyone else, we are bringing the planet into a higher consciousness, into a greater awareness, into something in which peace and prosperity and joy and health and well-being at all levels become the norm rather than the exception. We are willing to be beacons of faith and light to the world, and we allow that sense of faith and light to unfold through our hearts and our minds into the world to be a blessing to all. And as we bring this time to a close, we affirm through faith, I am centered and guided every step of every day. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen.
Thank you so much, Wendy, for a great service and a great way to take a look at the difference between true faith and blind faith. You've given us a lot to think about, and it's certainly a great way. Sorry, I didn't have my camera on. A great way to start 2022. It is a brand new baby year, and we can create whatever we want. We just need to pick something and stay focused on it. Thank you so much. And we'll have another song.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Oh, God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything and every little thing that I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Oh, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything, everything I need. God gives me everything, every little thing I need. God gives me, God
Oh, what a great song. And it's a perfect song just before this time where we take a few moments to give thanks and bless our offerings, gifts, and tithes that we've received at Unity of London and continue to receive, whether they come through the mail, through our email, Unity of London at Hotmail, through Tithely, people dropping checks off, people coming in using the machine. We are so grateful that Source continues to give us all that we need. And we bless those gifts and we use them wisely and see them blessing the world. And now we'll do our prayer for protection. I invite you to affirm with me that the light of God surrounds me. I am the light. And the love of God enfolds me. And I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. And in the spirit of Unity of London, we say, yay, God. And we'll have our peace song and then celebration. Can you hear Jake in the background there? All righty, it's Celebration Sunday. Let's stop screen sharing so I can see everybody better. And who's going to be first to share what they're celebrating